Hey guys, it's Lovelxce, and it's time for an astrology update on Blueface and Chrisean. Let's get into it. So, a while back I did a reading on Blueface's sentencing. In that video, I discussed Blueface's previously suspended prison sentence, but still mentioned that the threat of prison loomed for Blueface. The stars in our chart showed him as Mercury retrograde moving back to the sun. The sun symbolized prison, and this movement, as Mercury symbolized Blueface, suggested him going back to prison eventually, even by his own will, though his lawyers and the judge would save him at that time. My common sense judgment and intuition as well, knowing Blueface's lifestyle, concluded it would be very hard for him to avoid drinking, drugs, and breaking the law, so he would likely violate his probation. A year after that original chart was made, it happened. On January 12th, Blueface turned himself in a mercurial fashion. Although not smart overall, there was some intelligence to this. Likely, it was better to turn himself in than be arrested in the act.
Only a real player will go to jail looking like he's finna go to the Himalayas.
Yeah, good luck, man.
In that original imprisonment question chart for Blueface, his sentencing was shown with the sign Capricorn. This could show for him a long sentence, or at least longer than he had usually been in jail. Since this development, Blueface's heart swung back to Chrisean, and the two began communicating heavily again through impassioned, bonding prison phone calls. But wait, what about her old new man, K Suave? In my reading on Chrisean's new man, K Suave, we mentioned warnings of things going quickly and things going south. There was apparently a sweet, Libra-themed honeymoon period of peace, but Scorpio's influence would come next soon, which tends to be damaging for relationships. Jealousy, possibly cheating, and all sorts of ugly energy for relationships was at risk, and it happened on some level. According to reports, Chrisean dumped K Suave and went back to Blueface. She unfollowed him on Instagram and posted on January 18th that she loved Blueface, to the disappointment and disapproval of many. She shared a video of her bumping and grinding with Blueface in the darkness of a club, sharing drinks and acting romantic. Some of this clip was too hot for YouTube, at least my channel. K Suave, though, in response to this, didn't seem to lash out, and it said the same day Chrisean posted her and Blueface together on social media, K Suave went on IG Live, playing a song of his. A commenter pointed out the lyrics of the song, which said, "When I first saw you, I knew it wouldn't last." And people wondered if the song was about Chrisean.
First time I knew it wouldn't last. You got so much dirt on my name, maybe that's the past.
He seems like a private person, not lashing out and handling it like a gentleman. Perhaps because he still sees Chrisean as a good friend, if not best. If you've seen otherwise, please let me know. But we wish him well and have empathy for his position in this saga. In fact, a lot of people seem to be happy for him moving on. As the saying goes, if they can take it, you probably never had it. So, it's time for another chart about this public relationship. What did the stars show for Chrisean and Blueface come forward 2024? Spoiler alert, well, it's not sunshine and rainbows. And the chart for this question was made on January 22nd, 2024 at 1:18 p.m. Using ancient astrology techniques, we can see what this chart shows, and on this channel, I actually explain most of those techniques. Gemini also seems to describe her changeable nature, getting with a new man quickly, tattooing his name, then off again to Blueface less than a few months into the relationship. Maybe Blueface's energy has been rubbing off on her. Back in December, she said she awaited cops to take Blueface off to jail, and claimed Blueface punched her while holding her child. The moon is separating from Venus in this chart, meaning it's leaving an aspect with Venus. This aspect, in opposition, shows the breakup between her and K Suave, especially with Venus in the 7th house of relationships. Her planet Mercury is also in conjunction with Mars in this house, which would be good if Mars didn't represent something bad in this chart. It rules the 12th from the 7th house, and that house indicates problems and suffering related to relationships. What does this mean? Since Mercury is moving to Mars, this means she's moving into a bad or problematic situation with Blueface. Once again, Mars would also represent Blueface's imprisonment, so this conjunction also shows her extreme concern and involvement. This extreme shown by a powerful Mars in Capricorn. His plight weighs extremely heavily on her mind. Lastly, another concerning thing is her and Chrisean Malone Jr. are the same planet. She will be bringing him along into this problematic energy. The story of Blueface here, regrettably, has dark energy as well. Blueface will be shown by Jupiter in this chart. His planet is in Chrisean's 12th house, even though it looks like it isn't visually. As I mentioned earlier, this house is negative and is a house showing how people self-sabotage, so Blueface will have this negative influence in her life if she keeps involving herself with them, and he won't change his ways anytime soon. This is because Jupiter is in a fixed sign, Taurus. He might even be stubborn about it. As Jupiter, this shows Blueface being positive and friendly to her. Currently, it seems like they have good rapport, but he will still probably cause trouble for her, even if in some ways he means well. A friendly attitude does not mean a person is incapable of evil. It's easily shown in this chart the heavy talking between Chrisean and Blueface. The Sun, which represents Chrisean's third house of communications, is inside Blueface's third house. Likely, this communication will continue for a long time because the Sun is in a fixed sign, Aquarius. The Sun and Jupiter are in a square aspect. This aspect is some difficulty. I couldn't say specifically what it means, but it is inauspicious. This aspect could be saying, agreeing with common sense judgment, that continuing to speak with Blueface won't do her good in the long run. While making this video and researching, I observed a lot of sentiment about Chrisean's decision to go back to Blueface, and it was very harsh. It seems many were beyond the point of disappointment and have given up on Chrisean. The sentiment of the masses is shown here too in this chart by the planet Uranus. Uranus is in Chrisean's 12th house, and again, an unfortunate 12th house placement. This shows fame around how she self-sabotages herself, and she's also hurting her standing amongst the masses. The ruler of Pisces on the 11th house is Jupiter, and to a lesser extent Neptune. Jupiter will represent her fans and would show a large fan face. However, I did mention Jupiter also symbolizes Blueface earlier. The most plausible interpretation of this is her association with Blueface is hurting her fan base, and for the long term, there's a great risk of squandering her followers. Then we have another player in this story, Jaidyn. She is likely shown by the planet Venus that is in Blueface's first house. As Venus in Sagittarius, this shows her more carefree and open with Blueface. She isn't heavily concerned about his imprisonment like Chrisean is for now. Hot News Hip Hop reports, Jaidyn Alexis back in January hopped on Instagram to share a variety of fun photos from a night out. Moreover, she posed with who appeared to be her current love interest at the time, Jocelyn Morris. The photos were flirty enough, but an onlooker also caught them making out at the club. And I've been quoting them here, but they also say this appears to prove that the Barbie performer is unfazed by the father of her kid's absence, end quote. They also reported Jaidyn did announce that she was single just before Blueface's arrest, appearing to suggest that their engagement is off, though that remains unconfirmed, end quote. The stars would show, however, in the coming weeks, her carefree attitude would change, as Venus is about to change signs in this chart. And as usual, this was true, as a couple of days after Valentine's Day, which I find significant, she tweeted after visiting Blueface while Chrisean was on vacation. Messily, of course. Free my baby daddy. Back in January, a phone call leaked by Jaidyn showed Blueface claiming he loves being in jail because he can't get in more trouble, and he confidently stated his love for her. I'm not surprised, as I see him always having Jaidyn in the background as an option. And what about that proposal? I didn't make a video about that, but I did make a chart. And to summarize, Scorpio energy was very strong. I concluded that the proposal was not for honest reasons, but likely manipulative to evocate jealousy and hurt, to get even. So I'm going to close this reading with looking at what the moon has to say in our chart. The moon will reveal the outcome of their near future. With the moon trine Saturn in this chart, this says a long-term relationship of communication, as Blueface's third house of communications is ruled by Saturn. The moon is moving into the sign Cancer. Their talking will continue to increase emotionally for a while, and quickly. Saturn, however, doesn't mix well with the moon's energy, so I do wonder how good this ultimately will be. And the moon, yet more, shows a somber prognosis. Greek lots are points in the zodiac that show themes at play in the situation. In this chart, the moon is joined to the Greek lot disappointment, and more ominously, divorce. For my question today, this is a strong sign of things going awry yet again. Venus trine Jupiter in this chart also says, another woman will capture Blueface's attention if not chase him, and likely, another relationship develops or continues. This is likely Jaidyn. Is she having her fun before going back to Blueface again? It could also be someone else, but this should show certainly some major interference. Putting this all together, I see Blueface and Chrisean strongly connecting through speech, but I don't think it will develop into a relationship, a healthy one where they are together again outside of the prison walls. It looks like another woman will interfere. Do you think it's Jaidyn? Lastly, in the chart, Mercury and Jupiter, Chrisean and Blueface's planets, are in a separating aspect. This shows to us how they recently, positively, reconnected before he went to jail. And we see, looking at Mercury, a deep love from Chrisean and Blueface, feeling it deep down. However, this aspect is not a good indication for the future for a relationship. Their planets need to be interacting with each other strongly, and the separation aspect is waning energy. I do wonder if the best that could happen between them already did. That's it for now, and I hope you've enjoyed this update. We'll see how things play out. In closing, your astrologer, Lovelxce.